Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the I've Got Ballz 400 qualifying night. Top two and fastest times will lock themselves into the main event on Sunday, walking away with a little bit of money as well. Everybody else is going to have to go through the heat races on Friday, January 8th, and on Saturday, January 9th. Up in the booth beside me, I got Brandon Howe, and making everything happen behind the scenes is Zach Johnson. Howe, what do you think we're going to see in this qualifying session?
It's going to be fast. It's going to be hot. It's going to be slick. These cars are out of control and on the ragged edge. Those who can keep it full throttle in this 148-degree track time session, they'll be pretty close to the top of the charts. The practice session we just had some very interesting results. The fastest time we saw was a 42.875 by me, myself. Bunch of fast guys in here. Brendan McGee, very fast. Mcadams, fast as always on a plate track. Nick Doucette was very, very close to the top of the charts as well. Looking for a sleeper tonight, too. Philip Snipes has been practicing a lot, and we don't really hear his name a lot in terms of the guys up front, but he has been very fast in terms of speed weeks.
And outside of those guys, we have a lot of pro drivers this year. I think the most pro drivers we've had in any of the IGB so far, I think we're at 9 or 10, and I'm pretty sure we have at least 5 in the session right now. So we got to look for those Coke guys to show up and try and put down a fast lap as well. Seth DeMerchant as well, last year's qualifying pole sitter, is in here as well. Look for him to put down a fast lap. A lot of good stories entering this series this week. A lot of fast guys, a lot of guys making pro, first race of the year for a lot of big guys. So I'm looking forward to this qualifying session here. Drivers are currently going through the last drivers meeting before hitting the grid, before lining up to take their queue time. So right now we're just kind of chilling. Let's go over the session. Let's go over the weekend schedule before we get to dragging guys up here and talking about how they're doing in their lap. Obviously today, Saturday, January 3rd, is the Brandon Cruz DFS Daily Fantasy Poll Podcast Poll Award. Top two, like I said, locked into the show. On Sunday, Friday, January 8th at 7:45 and 8:45 p.m. Eastern, heat races 1 and 2. Top 5 from each heat race advance to the I've Got Ballz 400. Those will be 40 laps, 50% fuel. Saturday, January 9th, 7:45 and 8:45 heat races 3 and 4. Sunday, January 10th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time is the last chance qualifier. All remaining spots will be taken from this race. On Sunday, January 10th, live here on STN at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time will be the 9th running of the I've Got Ballz 400 $1,000 purse. Dash for cash, 160 laps, top 20 guys walking away with money. Hal, I got to thank you for helping get that purse high. I got to thank myself as well. And all the people putting this week together: Brandon McGee, Brandon Howe, Nicholas Doucette for painting a lot of the paint schemes, Zach, obviously, for coming along here, and everybody a part of Winstow who has helped made this setup as fast and as fun as it is to run.
Sounds like we're about to be going on track here.
We're just currently getting the list of the first guys to go out on queue right now. As I said, they're just going through the last, requirements and knowledge in the driver's meeting. Pretty interesting here. Only 1 lap to take a queue time, so you'll come right out of pit road. We'll clear the black flags for you. You get 1 lap to strap it down. What are the times we're looking at for this session, Hal?
Anything around a 42.85, I think, will be pole. Probably a lot of guys right around the 43 flat. We got the first car on track right now with Mr. Andrew Pietronek, the 34 car. Beautiful looking machine out there as he heads through 1 and 2.
One thing you want to take a note here at this track, it's the old Daytona, a lot of bumps all over the track. We got a lot of bumps entering the corners, exiting the corners on the bottom, and especially outside of turn 4. We got 1 bump that'll throw you into the outside wall. So you're going to want to pay attention to that when you're coming up to speed, and you're going to want to pay attention to it in the heat races later this week. Andrew, the first guy, the first green flag about to come out for the first driver for the week. We got a lot of drivers in here, a lot of stiff competition, but here we go. Andrew now turn 4, getting ready to take his Q lap.
Speed of 208 miles an hour at the line. Pretty solid speed. Looking for a speed of about 213 to 14 as you're entering turn number 1, and he's entered that pretty on the dot. One thing you're going to see that tonight is these guys are not going to be running the standard queue line that you would see at Daytona in most cars, where you're right around the bottom of the racetrack all the way through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. A lot of drivers are finding a lot of speed running high in 3 and 4, actually, which is something you very rarely see at this track. 215 miles an hour into turn number 3. He runs the bottom here. He might wash up a little bit here in mid-corner, and it might compromise his exit speed, but he's coming to take his checkered flag for the first qualifying lap for the 2021 I've Got Ballz 400.
Coming across the line at 210 miles an hour. It's going to be a 42.931. That'll certainly be a good time to beat, a good time to see where everybody stacks up. The 9s are where a vast majority of the faster guys are going to run. You're going to see at least, like you said, a 42.8 to claim the pole, but a 49 or 42.9 is a perfect lap to begin here. How, as a person who helped design the setup, what's the line that you'd advise these drivers to take as we have our second driver leaving pit road and taking onto the track? That is Cosman in the 84 machine.
This setup is really meant to just kind of thread the bumps, almost like you're skiing through the. I found through 1 and 2 that you can run basically the bottom on entry and then kind of scoot up to the middle of the racetrack mid-corner and then cut it back down. And then, head it back to the wall down the back straightaway. And then in 3, you want to almost have your right side tires on the white line. And then basically run high through the mid-corner and then cut it down to this point right about there on exit and clip that. And that'll give you a good run to the front straightaway. Also, in terms of wind style, there is no yellow line rule. So when you come across the start-finish line, it's pretty much a 50-50 split on whether or not you want to run on the apron of the racetrack or keep it on the racing surface as you come across the line. I prefer to run to the bottom of the racetrack. Some guys don't. It can gain you about a 100th of a second one way or another. Cosman taking a pretty much an ideal line here through 1 and 2. Very good speed on the back straightaway in this big chungus machine. I believe it's a Nissan Skyline he's painted up here. It's a beautiful car. As always from Cosman, he's one of the best painters on the service. He chose to go very low in 3 and 4 there. It may hurt him, it may not. Let's see what his time is as he comes out of 3 and 4 here.
Coming out turn 4, Cosman in the only Nissan I think I've ever seen from 1987. Cross the line at 2:08. That's going to be a 43.072. Just a tick slower than Andrew. This is the time that like I said, I think a vast majority of guys who maybe haven't had as much practice leading up to this event are going to run. I think we're actually going to see quite a few spinouts, maybe around 6 or 7 actually. I know that sounds weird. Daytona spin out under Q. What are we talking about? But this is a very, very loose setup. It's going to upset the car. Like I said, these bumps, it's going to upset the car. It's going to make the car loose all over the track. You got to wheel this thing. This ain't just, how they run Daytona nowadays. You run the yellow, you take it nice and easy. Here, you're going to be turning right, entering these corners. You're going to be driving this thing. Jonathan Hernandez out of turn 2 in the number 42 machine, looking to possibly claim the IGB pole down the back straightaway this time by. I think we can use him as a great example to see where these bumps are, even up on the high side as he enters the wall right at those lines. You see him get a little bit squirrely right there in turns 3. You saw him, I'm sure that came up on him. It surprised him. I mean, that's just his warm-up lap, and he's already turned the car right. So we'll see how he does taking the green flag right here, entering the tri-oval.
That movement in 3 and 4 is definitely going to affect his lap speed here. He was a little bit slow coming to the line there, and he's slow heading into the 1, about 2 miles an hour off the pace, and he's very excited in the 1, and he's losing the car. Great job hanging on to it there. Might as well finish this lap just for the sake of saying he's done it. But this is definitely not going to be a pole effort from Jonathan Hernandez.
Not a pole lap, but my gosh, did you see that? I mean, there's a lot of people on the iRacing service that cannot save that car. That was a great job with this setup. But like you said, it's not going to maintain the pole, but he can at least say he put a Q lap down. And like I said, this is what's going to happen with a lot of people who aren't familiar with this setup. It snuck up on him. It snuck up on him when he took the green, or it snuck up on him before he even took the green. It snuck up on him entering turn 1. And I mean, coming across the line at 2:05, still nothing to shake a stick at. 46.065, 3 seconds off the pace. But hey, after almost wrecking there, that's perfectly fine.
Next car to take the track will be the 09 of Colton Salick.
Sorry, I keep stepping over you. Colton Salick, a Winstill regular in the 09 machine. I think he's attempted to qualify for an IGB before, but I don't think he's ever made the main event. We'll have to see how he does this time, leaving pit road, trying to get a great start up to the warm-up lap, shifting through the gears, and that's another thing that people don't really consider. But you know, the 87 car is one of the more difficult cars to shift here on the iRacing service. So if you have a bad time getting through the gears, I mean, you can count that as an X because you're not going to get the pull through that either.
One thing I meant to bring up in this last run that we saw Jonathan get sideways and hang onto that car, which is very hard to do in these cars. These cars do not have any side force or any rear downforce. So you've got a 10-degree spoiler on this car. Basically, no spoiler whatsoever. It's basically 625 horsepower and a brick of drag, and that's all you got for your handling and your springs. One thing to look at is that these cars don't really like to be thrown into the corner like you would a normal car. A lot of cars, you yank the wheel down to get it to entry, but in this car, you have to really point it straight and let it land and keep the wheel very straight in corner entry. If you don't, you'll see what happened to Jonathan Hernandez, where you'll get very sideways on corner entry. Colton Salick having a very good 1 and 2 there. He took a very high line, but it might pay off on an exit as he gets a very good cut onto the back straightaway here.
Colton Salick, a guy that might be a dark horse for the pull through here. He's carrying a lot of speed, top speed of 215 entering that corner, but you see him get a little bit squirrely. He's sliding up into that third lane. That's not what you want to do every time you yank that wheel. I know you got to wheel it, but it's going to be scrubbing off speed off those front tires. As he comes through the trial, taking the checkered flag right here, he's going to bring it down to the apron, not necessarily on it, but a 43.021 second fastest on the evening so far.
Again, I think that entry to 3 and 4 is really what put set him back there. He tried to enter very low, and I think the bumps caught him out, and it pushed him up through mid-corner. He had a very hard time bringing it back down, and it scrubbed off a lot of speed. He had a very good 1 and 2, though.
Yeah, I mean, the turn 3 is going to be the silent killer for these fast laps. I mean, you got different ways you can enter. You can enter right on the yellow, as we have Chris Wetz and the Kodak. Got the one machine go through 1 and 2 right now. You can enter turn 3 either right against the yellow, which is what I'm going to try and do, or you can enter maybe 2 lanes higher and, you know, have a late apex into the corner. I mean, you really have to drive this track like it's almost a 1.5 mile versus a super speedway. So a lot of different ways to enter the corner. You just want to avoid those bumps, especially here in 3 and 4, as we see Chris entering turn 3 for the first time. He misses those bumps that got Jonathan sideways. He nearly got the wall right there, but he's going to carry great speed out of turn 4 right here, topping off at 199, 200 as he hits the start, or as he hits the straightaway right here. As he's kind of squirrely bringing it to the yellow line, he's wheeling it. Drivers taking a green at 205 miles per hour.
He clipped it to about 206 miles an hour at the start-finish line, but he also scrubbed down to about 205. He's very sideways in 1 and 2. Again, just as Jonathan Hernandez is, he might save the car. And it looks almost identical to Jonathan Hernandez's car with the right rear damage now. He might just beat his lap, actually. We're looking for the 46-second bracket here.
You know, we're going to have 2 polls. It's going to be the poll for the race, and it's going to be the poll for the guy who can save the car. Let's see if Chris can beat the 46.06. Jonathan kept a little bit more damage on that right rear. Like we said, I mean, this setup just sneaks up on drivers. It's one of those where you wanted to go out, you know, weeks in advance and, you know, get it from us, practice and everything like that. As we have Chris taking the checkered flag, he's going to cross it at, let's see, 46.556. Half second slower than Jonathan, but he still saved the car. Can still say he put a Q lap down, and that's all we want to see.
Also, it looks like the drivers in chat are having a bit of a betting contest on how many wrecks we'll see tonight. Looks like about 6 to 5 is what most people are thinking. So far, I believe we're at 2. It does count as wrecks to you, Cruz.
Yeah, the Chili Bowl has their flip count. We can have our sideways count here at the IGB as Josh Burnett going to head out here. Like I said, I think we're probably going to see more than 6. I think I maybe underestimated how many guys we were going to get sideways here, but Josh getting through the gears amazingly right now in the center of 1 and 2, running that 2.5 lane. Really, if you look at the heat races this weekend, I know Daytona can technically fit 4 drivers and we don't have a yellow line here, but really this is a 2-lane racetrack for those races. The guys on the inside know they got to give room to the guys on the outside. The guys on the outside know they got to give room to the guys on the inside. So I know this track looks wide, but in the heat races in the main event on Sunday, it's going to be a 2-lane racetrack pretty much.
Josh coming to the line here with a very solid speed of 206 miles an hour. A little bit higher than most of the trial. That might help him as we head on the turn 1 and 2 with the less scrub through the trial.
We'll have to see that. The car is stepping out a little bit on the entry, but he continues to carry the speed. He gets it all squared away. Going to leave right at the bottom of the yellow line, bottom line out of 2. I think that's going to hurt his speed down the back straightaway because he's barely hitting 210 miles an hour. I think he scrubbed off too much speed. He should have let that car kind of carry itself onto the back straightaway, but we'll see how he does as he's carrying 203, 202 miles per hour right now, coming here out of turn 4. As we got Michael Guest lining up to take the green as soon as Josh is done here. Josh coming through the tri-oval at 207, and his lap time is going to be a 43.62. Like I said, I think he scrubbed off that speed exiting turn 2, and I think that's what cost him half a second on the field.
Yeah, Cruz, he didn't really go out to the wall there and let it drift out as you would normally on a Q lap out of 2. And I think he also hit your bumps that we have in the middle of 3 and 4 that really helped him scrub some speed there and cost him probably about 0.6. Heading on the track now is Michael Guest, Coke Series driver.
Michael Guest taking a different exit out of pit road. Some of the guys prefer to go straight up to the wall. You're going to see some guys like Nicholas Doucette pretty much all day. He's been leaving pit road on the yellow line. Michael Guest left about a lane and a half. I'm interested to see how this pro driver really attempts this. I haven't seen him in any of the practices, so I'm pretty sure this might be his first time on the setup. We'll have to see how he handles turn 1 at full speed.
I believe he got a run or 2 in the last practice session that we were in, but he joined pretty late, and I don't think he has very many laps in the setup. But again, first black stripe of the night, and hopefully we'll see some real talent out of him.
Oh, well, we see the car getting sideways out of turn 4. He missed that bump that I talked about earlier out of turn 4, but he's going to take the green at a great speed, looking real fast right now. 207 across the line. I think we got a contender for the pole position right here.
I believe so too. He hit 208 as he crossed the line. 212, about a mile an hour off of what Andrew could do in his first run. But very solid run through 1 and 2. Lets the car drift out right to the outside of the track. Heads in the back straightaway. The solid speed down in the turn 3, about 214 miles an hour off in the 3. Chooses to run the bottom. He might be caught out a little bit. Yep, he hit the bump there. Drifting up a little bit. Can he save it on exit? Very good cut down on exit there. Let's see if he chooses to stay on track or if he chooses to cut the yellow line here. Believes he's going to stay on the track here and barely clip with his left front with a solid time of 43.125. Not enough to knock off the front 2, but again, a very respectable lap time for a guy who has experience in this car.
It did not look like he scrubbed off those 2/10 in turn 3 and 4, but that is certainly what he did. Scotty Shed line up at the cones right now waiting for him to get out, but man, I know Guest was in the green on the back straightaway. That turn 3 entry just really caught him by surprise. He caught those bumps that we've talked about as well. You saw the car get a bit unstable in the center of the corners, and that's what cost him the time right there.
Scotty Shed in this Club Georgia machine is pulling out on the track right now. He put in a lot of laps in the last practice session, and I believe he had decent speed. So let's see what kind of run he can put together here. He definitely has the laps in to know what he's doing, and it's very fresh in this car.
Yeah, Scotty, top 10 in the last session. That is where his laps averaged in the 2-hour session before this. He was in it pretty much the entire time. We had multiple 2-hour practice sessions up for these drivers to, get familiar with the setup, practice leaving pit road, practicing how we were going to organize everything. As we see Scotty entering this corner perfectly. He's not hitting any of the bumps. He's high enough to carry a lot of speed through the corner. He didn't get sideways out of turn 4. I think Scotty right now probably has the most experience of anybody that we've seen on the track right now with the setup.
Indeed, Cruz. Very solid speed as he crossed the line there, 208 miles an hour. Very good line here as he uses up all the racetrack available to him and going into turn 1 here. A little bit sideways there, but I don't think he scrubs off too much speed. That might hurt his 1 and 2, but again, Andrew did not take an optimal line through 3 and 4. So if Scotty can do what he did again on the warm-up lap, I think he might be a contender for pole position here. He's got a 931 on the charts to beat. Very solid speed in the back straightaway, 214 miles an hour. He decides to enter low and see if this hurts him here.
Oh, he hit that bump in the center of the corner, but he's going to bring it back down. Oh, he may have scrubbed some speed off. It's going to be close right here because he did have a top speed of 215 down that back straightaway. We're going to see he's the first driver to bring it down on the apron, getting a bit sideways. He's going to cross the line with a 43.12. Turn 3 yet again, stealing the pole position away from people. That's a difficult corner to get through. That's what we're seeing from everybody so far.
Turn 3 is definitely the most difficult corner to get through on this track in this qualifying setup. Very, very difficult. Very, very line dependent. You got to basically ski it through there and avoid the bumps to keep your speed up without scrubbing the tires. Unfortunately for Scotty, he didn't pull through what he pulled through in qualifying practice, and he's won 1,000 slower than Michael Guest on the track.
All right, John Schwartz, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, taking the warm-up lap right here out of 4. One thing I really want you to look at on the screen here is just notice how violent that this track is on the car. I mean, I know he's going down the back straighter right now. Everything's looking pretty smooth. But when he gets into turn 3, watch how much this car bumps up and down. Particularly watch the front valence of that car. You're going to see some sparks probably come off as well as he comes through turn 4. You may have seen a little bit right there on your screen as he hit that bump out of turn 4. A little bit sideways. I mean, this is a violent setup. I'm not trying to oversell it. That's just what these drivers are having to deal with across the line at 205, taking the green right here.
Yeah, we have a very limited range of adjustments for these cars. The setup right now has 600-pound rear springs. That's as much as we can give him in iRacing, and this setup is basically trimmed up to the maximum. Basically, we don't have tie-down shocks or bump springs or anything like that. Just a 5,000-pound front spring, and, you know, take it as you will. There's not much damping in these cars, and it's going to be a tough one on the drivers. It's a very big force feedback load to your hands.
John entering a bit lower than what we've seen, but I think it's going to work out for him. He hasn't really hit any of the bumps that are killing people. Now, this is going to be a great comparison. He didn't hit any of the bumps, but he entered a bit low. Is he going to get a fast time here or not? He's going to be a great baseline for this. 43.16. I think that's what it was. He didn't hit the bumps per se, but he kept the car on the yellow, which is something that you want to do in modern cars. You don't want to do it necessarily here at this track in the 87.
Yeah, again, I mean, he took a line where you can avoid the bumps, and if you do it just right, you can get through there. I've run very comparable laps to what the fastest laps are running that line. However, the preferred line is still towards the outside of the track when you enter into the corners. We haven't really seen anybody entering that high except for Scotty when he ran the warm-up lap. If he'd have done that again on his race lap, it might have been pole position for him, but let's see what Ryan A. Williams can do as he enters the track in his beautiful-looking 28 machine.
Yes, that Crown and Scott Classic car standing out right now down the back straightaway, a driver with a 3,500 iRating. Let's just bring this up that we had an iRating cutoff of 2,700 to sign up for this race, so this ain't no run-of-the-mill, you know, C-class, DCAT class drivers. These are guys who are A-class, pretty much at the top of iRacing. We wanted a high-skilled, very competitive race on Sunday, race through the heats, and this is what we're getting. This is how they're attempting qualifying right here is Ryan coming through the travel, carrying a lot of speed, 208, almost got to 209 at the line. I think we might see a contender.
Yeah, Cruz, I mean, the strength of field last year was incredible. It was, I mean, I don't have the exact number on hand, but it was very, very high. One of the highest strength of field events outside of the Coke Series all year long.
Ryan A. Williams just letting her eat down the back straightaway. Gonna enter turn 3. He enters low. Let's see how this upsets the car. He avoids the bumps. He's coming up right at where you want to be. Gonna cut it down out of turn 4. Bring it by the yellow. Bringing it up the wall. Letting the momentum of the car letting it do its work as he comes to the line. 209, 42.983. Just short full position.
It does put him on the second position though, which will lock him into the field if it holds. Again, I noticed that he did choose that bottom line. However, he did have the highest speed on the exit of 3 and 4 when he cut it down. Most drivers are right around the 201 to 202 miles an hour range. He held 203 miles an hour through the entire corner, and that really helped him out there.
That he did. Blake Neer, a guy that we saw last year in the week, running up front in his heat race last year, coming back driving the number 9 Coors machine. I love how this paint scheme looks, man. Black, kind of cream color, white, looking real good. Blake Neer, like I said, a veteran, or at least a guy who is familiar with the IGB every January. Let's see how he does here.
Well, he's got the Bill Elliott scheme on, so maybe he'll take some Bill Elliott speed. Bill Elliott was just really the champion of plate qualifying. Well, it wasn't plates at the time back in the 80s, and he really knew what he was doing. Hopefully that rubs off on Blake, and we'll see what he can run here.
Well, we'll have to see. He crossed that line at 207, 1 mile per hour slower than Ryan Williams last time around. We'll see if he can try and gain that time back through the corner. It sounds like he's lifting through the corners just a tad. I can't tell if that's the motor being bogged down by the bumps or if that was him letting off the gas slightly. Not too sure, but we'll see how he does down this back straightaway.
Looks like he had a little bit loose in 1 and 2 there. Might have had the lift, but he didn't really hurt his speed too bad down the back straightaway. He again chooses to run the bottom line just like Ryan Williams does, but he did hit the bumps pretty bad there. Mid-corner speed here on exit looks to be about 203. It may be enough to get to the front row. Let's see as he crosses the line here.
Coming across the line, 209, a 43.012. That is third fastest. Entering turn 3 that time, I saw a little fire coming out of the tailpipes entering the corner, indicating that he may have lifted just a tad, not being very comfortable with the setup, or, you know, just by instinct, like, oh man, the car's getting loose, I got to let off a little bit. I think that's what cost him the time right there.
Yeah, it may not be actually too much of an issue to be lifting. It didn't really hurt him that bad. Ryan Naraki is taking the track now. He was telling us earlier that this is going to be his first lap of these cars. Not only on the setup on this track, but in this car in general. So let's see how the green rookie can do out here on his first laps.
Green as grass by the look at it. Ryan coming down the back straightaway. Let's see if the rookie can get through everything this track has to throw at him. One thing that he does have to work with is we do have rubbers in the corner, but this is a very slick track as he runs the high side here in 3 and 4. Running 199, run 198, never even hit 200 right now out of the corner. We're just going to have to see how he does here.
Decent speed of 207 miles an hour as he got to the line. He does crop down to about 206 miles an hour.
Oh, this is the first challenge. Entering the corner. Oh, he's getting sideways. Can he save it here? He does, right? Oh, that's the best save we've seen all night. Stayed in it. Still carrying a lot of speed through. Not going to get the pole here, but I think he will be the fastest out of the guys who got sideways.
I believe so. He's going to be a big challenger for the 46-second bracket. Jonathan Hernandez might be knocked off the pole of the lowest pole. The drift champions, I should say. Very, very hot track today. We're looking at April 29th in game, 90-degree ambient temperature and a track temperature of 148 degrees. You will never see this sort of a track temp in an official race. It's just unheard of, especially for this time of year where most of these guys would have getting their race experience here in this car. This time of year, most of the sessions are about track temps about 80 to 100 degrees. With 148-degree track temperature, your tires are going to be melting. There is very, very little grip out there. And you would think with the maximum track state usage that we have to set up to keep everyone's runs fixed and static, that you would have more grip. But it turns out that a lot of times in this sort of rubber area, you don't get as much grip as you think you would. It kind of gets kind of sticky and gooey. It's very hard to get hooked up.
Yeah, it's almost, I know it's not a dirt track, but it's almost like the dry slip that we see on the dirt in real life. Once you get hard clay down and you get rubber on it, it actually hardens off. It slips up the car. That's what we're seeing here, oddly enough, here at Daytona's blade width comes down the back straightaway in the 07 machine, the DM software dev machine, entering turn 3 in this Thunderbird 202, entering turn 3.
Blade is always competitive in these races. He's been a front runner for most of the IGBs that I've been a part of, and he's always a tough competitor to race with. Very fast at plate qualifying normally. Let's see if he can knock these two guys off the front row.
He may have a chance. Cross the line at 206, entered turn 1 at 208, but carried a lot of speed through that first set of corners right here, entering the back straightaway at 203, 204, 206, carrying a lot of great speed. Probably the fastest exit that we've seen out of turn 2 this evening.
Yeah, Blade was the first person I've seen to enter high in both 1 and 2, and now in 3 and 4. He got a little bit loose at entry there. That might hurt him, but he did take the proper line. It hurt him a lot. He's down to 200 on corner exit here. I don't think this is going to be a pole lap, but it could surprise us, Cruz.
Now, we've seen crazier things in this race, believe me, crossing the line at a 43.311. Not quick enough for the pole, but he did put on a good show. He got familiar with the setup. Like I said, turn 3, that's pretty much the storyline for the qualifying tonight. How people enter turn 3, how turn 3 reacts to the car as we get our next driver entering the track in the 40 machine, the black and green. Oh, I'm sorry. Put my finger off the button. Brian Mercero. Is that how he wanted it pronounced?
Well, no, it's Brian Mercurio.
Oh, well, it's a great thing,
It's
you
been
know. A fellow has.
no, I don't think anyone's ever pronounced his last name right. I've known him since probably 2011, 2012, and in the time that I've known him, he's been known as Brandon Mercurio, Brandon Mercurio, Brain Mercurio. It doesn't really matter. All I know is that he is a very fast driver and a pro driver this year.
Well, and don't worry, Brian, I know how it is. I have 3 names that people can never pronounce. As he crossed the line at 2:07, carrying constant speed, didn't gain anything but didn't lose anything through the corners. Looking very fast right now into turns 1 and 2, 212 entering this corner.
Very solid speed on the exit there. Very slightly dip below 203 to 202 miles an hour there. However, he is going to be very quick off a turn into turn 3 here. He chooses to go to the bottom. That might hurt him. However, it looks like he has skirted around those bumps pretty well. Can he cut it down on exit here and get to the line?
Never drop below 202. Coming out of the corner, we might have a contender for the pole position at 210 entering this. 209 across the line. Brian second fastest. Close. Running a 42.97. Pole is a 42.93. Just short of the pole, but he sits second fastest as we've ran through, what is it, 10 drivers right now? 15, somewhere around there. 14, my bad.
That will knock Ryan Williams off of provisional front row for the IGB. Next on track is Craig Arvanitz in his Richard Petty looking machine. I believe he's got Arvo's Auto Repair. Might be his own thing, I don't know. Very beautiful scheme nonetheless, and matches his helmet pretty nicely as well. Let's see what he can do down the back straightaway here as he heads to his green flag here.
One of the few Pontiacs in this event running, like you said, the Richard Petty STP colors. We'll see how he does here, carrying 200 through the corners, 198 on the exit, scrubbing a lot of speed off. I think he might be yanking on that wheel a bit too much out of the corners. We'll see how he does here.
He carried solid speed across the line regardless of that. His speed entering turn 1 is going to be 213 miles an hour, or just 212, but he is taking a very solid line through the middle of the corner here. Let's see what he can do. Oh,
right as you say that. Oh, upside down. Flip count standing at 1, our first DNQ, not necessarily for the event, but for the session right here, Craig, in that 43 cars. We get a replay up on the screen. As you saw, he entered turns 1 and 2 about on the 3rd lane. He brought it down fast and hard on the yellow line. I think it upset the car as he got through. He hit that bump. As you saw the suspension jump up and down, it overcorrects, throws him into the wall. He goes over one time, brings it back down on all fours, but up in smoke, knocks down that cone for good measure.
Very hard hit for Craig there, but now we've got Cody Dutton on the track. Cody hasn't done much league racing with us, but I know when we do our official racing, he's always up front and very competitive in these cars. I'm curious to see what he can run in this setup here.
As you just said, Cody Dutton, a guy who is a regular in the Legends series on the iRacing service here. You're pretty much always going to see him in top split, always competing for the wins, always competing for the top fives, a name people know in the 87 car. Possibly a dark horse, another dark horse for the pole position. 207 across the line, 208 very quickly after, carrying a lot of good speed through here, entering turns 1 and 2. Right on the bottom, right at that extended patch there, looking real good. Hasn't hit any of the bumps so far. Car acting really nice. I like how this is looking so far.
I do too, Cruz. He carried a lot of speed through 1 and 2 there. Interestingly, he didn't really let it drift out to the wall on the back straightaway. I think that might be a key to the lap. Let's see how he enters through.
In the middle of the corner right now, missed the bumps on the entry into 3, coming out of turn 4, gonna bring it back down on the yellow, bringing it halfway up the track, looking like he might go on the apron. He's not, gonna bring it right to the yellow. Oh, he does go on the apron slightly, 209 across the line, 43.005, fourth fastest of the cars we've seen this evening.
Again, he had an excellent 1 and 2, but the decision to run the bottom in 3 and 4 is really hurting a lot of these guys who may not have had enough laps on the setup to figure that out yet.
Up next is a guy that is confirmed to be locked into the Coca-Cola Series, the iRacing Coke Series. This year it is Ryan Doucette, a modified driver in real life, a Winstell regular, carrying his iconic 77 orange and blue machine through 1 and 2. This is a guy that I imagine is going to run a top 5 time, a kid with a lot of talent, rather. He's going to be very fast, very skillful here.
Yeah, Ryan's been a regular in the Winstell series and the IGB for, well, pretty much since the inception of the series. I've known him for 5 or 6 years now, and always fast. And, now that he's got his new computer the past year, he's really exploded in talent and gone through the Pro, and now into the Coke series.
207 across the line. I mean, I know I said kid there. I just hate saying guy because then, I imagine like a 60-year-old or whatever. A kid, young guy with a great career ahead of him as he is going through the bumps and turns 1 and 2, getting a bit squirrely, but he saves it here. I don't think this is going to be a Q time, but it's certainly going to be quick. Ryan putting his talent on display in this event this week. He is the type of guy that I would want driving a car if I was going to sponsor it, if I was going to, pay a guy. This guy has a lot of skill. He's going to put on talent coming out of turn 4 right here. A bit wibbly, wobbly. The car's acting wild, but he's going to come through the trial wall, coming across the line on the apron, getting a bit sideways. He's going to scrub up some speed, but he crosses the line at 208 miles per hour at a 43.044.
Now, the mistake he made in 1 and 2 there, that probably cost him a solid 1/10 of a second. So it looks like he probably had the most solid 3 and 4 of anybody we've seen so far, and that's what it looked like to me, at least.
Next car in line leaving pit road is Kevin Mcadams, the guy that we saw in the session earlier, the full 2-hour session. He was running as many laps as he could, running good times. He ended that session 11th quickest. We're going to see if he can improve his time here.
Yeah, Kevin Mcdonald is one of the guys to watch here. When it comes to plate qualifying, he's always up front. Ran very competitive times in the last session we were in. One of the few guys to get into the 8s. Well, I expect this to be a front row run from Kevin Mcadams right here. As a Wendy's machine.
Carrying a lot of speed through the corner. I know you just mentioned our last session. This session so far this week seems to be the slowest so far, not necessarily knocking on Andrew, but how the cars are going through the corner of the track that they're dealing with. This seems like a slower session or a slower track than what we've been practicing this week.
That could very well be the case, Cruz. Although these times do kind of reflect what we were seeing earlier. There's kind of a big skill gap between the guys who can run low 9s and 8s and the guys who are right around that 43-second mark, to where, that little last 5% of skill can really make a big difference in terms of lap time here.
I'm pretty sure you just knocked on me because I'm going to be running at least a 43.0 as we have Kevin flying into turn 3, 215 miles an hour, holding it to the bottom. Missed the first group of bumps. Let's see if he avoids the second ones. He does. It doesn't upset the car too much. He's going to let it swing out a little bit. I think we're going to see him around 3rd fastest, 4th fastest as he throws it down the apron, brings it back up the track. I think that scrubbed off some speed there. 49 or 42.98 his time.
Well, Cruz, you called that right on the dot. 4th fastest for Kevin Mcadams. A very solid lap for him in his Wendy's machine. Hopefully Jarvis is watching on.
Now here we go, another guy known across the iRacing surface. You've seen him running everything from C-Class to 87s to A-Class. I mean, Jeremy B. Davis has done it all. Used to be a Winstell regular, a Winstell champion, rather, in the early series of ours. Running a Chrome 64 car this week. I expect Jeremy to put up a very fast time.
Indeed. Jeremy, I don't believe, is locked into the field, so this would be a very good opportunity to finish on the front row tonight and lock himself into the field for Sunday night.
Well, speaking of that, as Jeremy goes through turns 3 and 4, let's talk about the eligible lock-ins that we have. I have a list right here. Christopher Overland, the 2013 IGB champion. Blake Reynolds, the 2014 IGB champion. Evan Malayson, the 2015 IGB champion, as Jeremy B. Davis gets a little squirrely entering the trial. We're going to be a bit slow. This is not the lap that Jeremy wanted. Didn't even get to 2:04 at the line. I think this might be the slowest time that we see of the guys that don't get sideways currently. Continuing on with the locked-in list, it's myself, the 2016 winner. Justin Wilson, the 2017 IGB champion, actually did not register for this event, so his spot was opened up. We have Femi Olot, the 2018 IGB champion. We have Logan Crest, the 2019 champion, last year's champion. Logan Clampett, as we have Jeremy Davis coming in 3 and 4, 2:01. Leaving turn 4. I think we're probably going to see him around the 43 3s, 43 2s. We'll have to see him across the line.
43-4-6-3 for Jeremy Davis.
Oh, I was trying to help you out, Jeremy. Remaining guys locked into the race: Seth DeMerchant, Parker Alexander, Tom Wetmore did not register, Nick Kessler, Nicholas Doucette, Andrew Faroneros, Graham Boland did not register. Christopher Budd, Ryan Doucette, Brandon Howe, Tyler Head, and Brennan McGee. Your drivers locked into the main event on Sunday. Everybody else is racing for a chance to get in that race.
Now, as a locked-in driver, there is, although it doesn't matter to lock yourself in because you're already locked in, there is the important strategy of trying to knock out other drivers from locking themselves in, denying them an opportunity, and forcing them to race or win through the 4 heat races and the last chance qualifier if they need to. So it can be very important, even if you are locked in, to set a good lap tonight, even if you don't care about getting on pole. It is beyond bragging rights in the pole position. You can affect who is in the field for Sunday.
And you're racing for $15. That's the pole position winner. That's what you get. So you're locked in, walk away with some money. So it's certainly something you want to try and get, as we have Octavio run through turns 1 and 2 in this 08 Tide machine. Getting a bit sideways. Can he save it? He does. Doesn't get as sideways as anybody else. I think he might break into the 44s of the guys who get sideways. So he's now a contender for the sideways gang.
Yeah, Octavio Rondoletto doing a very good job saving that race car through 1 and 2. Probably the best job yet. Great display of car control. It really is hard to save these race cars. They don't have any side force or rear spoiler to really save the car. When you get sideways, it is a terrifying experience. Oh, he puts it on display again on turn number 4 there in his Tide Ride, the 08 machine of Octavio Rondoletto.
Octavio using all the track that he bought here on the iRacing service of 43.949. At least he saved the car.
The one's still regular on the track now, Brandon McKissick. He's been around for a long, long time. And although he isn't known to necessarily be the fastest guy when it comes to plate qualifying, you never know when he's going to turn on a surprise lap time. His USPS mail truck full of stolen ballots laying down that rear car, hoping to get the spoiler out of the air.
Right, well, here comes McKissick. I just got word that I'll be in the next group of drivers going, so I'll call McKissick's lap and then take my microphone down and hop onto the track, get my helmet on and everything, as we have McKissick coming down the back straightaway into turn 3, running very high. McKissick all this week talking about how he wants to run a 9. He wants to find that speed. He wants to get pole position. Let's see if McKissick has put in the work. Let's see if he can do it this time around, taking the green flag.
Very good entry to 1 and 2 there. Got it down right to the yellow line. Let it drift up to get the momentum saved. And a very good cut down through exit here. This is a guy who's put in a lot of time this week to try to perfect his lap time. And hopefully we'll see him get to the 9s like he's been trying really hard to do.
McKissick trying his hardest, enters the corner in the middle, bringing it down a little bit now, sliding up to about the second lane and a half. He's going to bring it back down, almost diamond in the corner. Coming down the short chute, carrying a speed of 207, 208, 209, entering the trial bowl, crossing it at a 42.988. He finally hit those 9s that he wanted to see. I'll see you down on the grid.
All right, Cruz. All right, PDJ Zeller is on the track now with a 0-1 machine. Very beautiful looking car. I mean, pretty much identical to what you'd see in a 1970s Monte Carlo. He winds it up through the banking here in 1 and 2. Shifting is a very important part of this car, actually. Unlike most of the cars in iRacing, at least oval cars, this thing does not have a dog box where you can just lift off the throttle and throw it in gear. You do have to use the clutch if you want to be able to shift, which makes getting up through the gears very, very challenging. And also getting on the pit road and going through down the gears, also very challenging for these drivers. Running on the highest lines I've seen through the exit of 3 and 4 there. It would have helped him there. That's probably about the line I would run, but he got a little bit loose on exit. It doesn't hurt his lap too bad. 206 at the line there. Guys are leaving a lot of racetrack on the outside of him, though, as they enter into 1. Looks like PD was the one who pulled up pretty much the lowest I've seen so far tonight. Pretty much running us line the whole corner. It did cost him a little bit on the exit there, about 2 and 1 on mid exit corner speed, but it probably helped him a little bit through mid corner. Let's see if it pays off for him. Oh, a lot of scrub for PD here, and a little bit of looseness off of turn number 4 here. I don't think it's gonna be a pole lap. Probably something around a 43.1 for PD. Let's see what it is at the line. 43.155. Look out, pit road! Look out, pit road! Oh, Cruz might be hurt. Might be learning the broadcast tonight for the rest of the race if he's not okay. All right, Cruz should be taking off now. Looks like he's okay. All right, Cruz running on track now, and is Brandon Cruz Monsiváis DFS Fantasy Sports podcast machine. Very beautiful blue car. Very, very easy to spot from miles away whenever you're racing with them. I believe Cruz said he would probably get about a 43.0. Let's see if he can make that promise correct, and maybe he'll go a little bit faster now that he knows the lines. Cruz is a very solid out lap here. Let's see what he can hit here at the line. Usually a good indication of what they'll do for a lap. Solid 207 miles an hour. And again, he is using up all the racetrack here, and he didn't actually pull it down to the yellow line there in the tri-oval. Left a little bit of room open to get some more speed out of the car. Again, not really against the yellow line here in 1 and 2. However, he did let it swing out all the way to the fence here on corner exit, and that may help him on this lap. Back straightaway speed here, 214 miles an hour. Again, entering mid-corner there, he might hit these bumps here, and it might upset his lap here. I believe he may have just done that. However, very solid effort through 3 and 4 here. Don't believe it'll be a pole time, but let's see what Cruz can do as he comes to the line. 43.141 for Brandon Cruz Monsiváis, and as Brandon Cruz DFS Daily Fantasy Sports podcast machine. Next we will have Seth Merchant on track. I believe Seth Merchant last year was our pole sitter. Me and him both locked our way into the field, as I talked about earlier. Neither of us were locked in last year, and we qualified first and second to lock ourselves into the field for the 2020 running of the IGP4. Well, at the time, it was a 250-mile event. So I would look for Seth to be a very, very strong force out here. I don't think I've seen him put a lap down, but I can guarantee you it's probably going to be fast. Like
yes, Seth the Merchant.
Back to the broadcast booth.
I'm here. I lifted on accident, stupidly entering turn 1. I lifted. Oh, driver! I just forgot what I was driving, and as soon as I did, I was, oh, it's done. Either way, let's look at a real driver coming through the travel, getting the green flag. Last year's pole winner, Seth the Merchant, a contender for the IGB all of last year. Won the pole, finished second, survived last lap carnage. This is a guy who is a contender each and every time he straps into the car. Here he is coming out of turn 4, or turn 2, rather.
You were just out there. How was the track conditions? Was it really slick compared to what we've been racing on all week?
Man, it feels pretty good. The entry to the corners, they're a bit slicker than what I imagine. I don't know if it's because I've been out of the car for an hour and a half or whatever. But it sneaks up on you, and if you aren't paying attention, I lifted. I probably could have stayed in it, but if you're not paying attention, I can see how these guys are spinning out as Seth crosses the line, second fastest, 42.96. Already locked into the race, was just trying for the pole position, slightly going to miss it, but he can still be on the front row if he stays second fastest.
Kyle Hendricks, next one on the track. Again, one of those guys that you see a lot of times in the official series and hosting his own sessions. He does that a lot for the community. One of the fastest guys there is when it comes to qualifying laps in these cars. His setups and his qualifying laps are usually top notch. He hosts a lot of those sessions where he basically will put up $15 on the line for you to even beat his lap time. And so far, I haven't been able to do it. I don't know if anyone else has, but Kyle's one of the fastest guys out here by far. Let's see what he can do.
Man, if you look at fast in the dictionary, Kyle's name is always right beside it in the second chrome car that we've seen tonight. I love chrome on these 87 cars, carrying tons of speed through the travel, 208 at the line. That's what you want to see. I know we got a whole nother lap, but if you come across the line on your warm-up at 208 like Kyle just did here, I see you contending for the pole.
He was a little bit slow there through the exit of 3 and 4 or 1 and 2, but I don't know if that'll hurt him or not. He's carrying some great speed on the back straightaway here, and he is using all the racetrack. Good line he takes.
Oh, he hit that bump in 3 and 4. It sends the car up. He saves it, but he got squirrely right there. Still 202 out of the corner. Probably top 5 in time that we're seeing right now. He's going to duck it on the apron, try and cut off another 10th off of that. We'll see where he lines up at. Second fastest, didn't expect that. 42.946. Knocks Seth the Merchant off the front row, and I think it's that bump in 3 and 4 that cost him the pole.
Yeah, very good time there from Kyle. He knocks Seth the Merchant out of the front row, as Seth did to somebody last year.
That by itself is an accomplishment. Like we've said before, Seth, a fast car, a guy who attempted to qualify for the Coke Series, fell just short in the Road to Pro this year. But he basically just beat a pro guy, as we have Jose Salas Jr., Winstow regular, and iRacing regular, another Road to Pro driver who came just short this year of making the Coke Series, but back-to-back fast cars, back-to-back guys with a whole lot of talent. And going back to Andrew's time, the current pole sitter in that 34 with a 42.931, he came out early. Do you think that had anything to do with the track being cool? Because we've seen pretty much over 20 drivers take time right now. Do you think the track's getting warmer with these guys going? Do you think the entries are getting slicker? What do you think, Hal?
Well, no, because what we've done for this session was to basically fix it as static as possible with the 100% track state, the fixed temperature and time. Basically, what we saw in the practice session was, the guys who came out first did tend to go fast, but also the fastest times that were being set all throughout the session. So maybe Andrew is also setting some very fast times in the first practice session. So seeing him go fast, first car out, was not surprising at all. Jose was a guy this year who really exploded in talent. Really wasn't super, I don't want to say relevant, but he wasn't known to be, he wasn't a guy who was always going for Road to Pro. This was his first time this year. Made it through the Pro Series, didn't make it through the Coke, but very, very good year for Jose Salas Jr. At a 43.00, he's not going to get into the front row, but a very good effort from Jose Salas Jr., who really isn't always a threat at plate qualifying, but is always a threat during the race.
Leaving pit road right now is sorry about that. Justin Thomas, currently in the 29 car. He has his car number registered as 52. We'll have to see what he ends up running this week during the heat race with Justin Thomas. I'll let you continue with this, but Justin Thomas in the ring. Turn number 2 right now on the high side.
I was going to say, Cruz, that car looks like it came straight out of Area 51. Very beautiful machine. That neon green roof and kind of that purple tinge to it. Looks very crazy as it goes down the back straightaway here.
I mean, it looks nice, and you got those reflective numbers on the side. Thompson, my bad, not Thomas. Thompson, as he enters turn 3 and 4 right now. Look, I mean, this is an awesome looking car. You got tons and tons of things going on in matte sides, chrome numbers. I mean, this is a beautiful car flying through the Trialval right now.
Very good speed across the line there, and very good speed in turn 1. He entered in not on the yellow line and let it drift up a little bit more than I would like to see, but he's carrying good speed here on exit.
Got a little sideways coming down as we get through the back straightaway. Looks like he's going to try and enter on the bottom lane right here. Getting a bit squirrely, sliding up the track in the second lane, probably going to diamond it down as we've seen other drivers do, and that is exactly what he does. He's going to stop the car from sliding up right before it gets to the wall, and he's going to bring it down to the Trialval. Checkered flag being displayed to the driver, 209 across the line with a 43.106.
Yeah, again, I mean, he had a pretty decent 1 and 2 there. He kept a lot of momentum, but again, seen a lot of guys entering on the bottom, and it really is not helping guys. We saw Andrew and Kyle enter in pretty high in 3 and 4, kind of ski the car down in the corner later than what most guys are doing, and I think those bumps on 3 and 4 are really not helping these guys.
Certainly upsetting the car, as we've seen pretty much everybody who's entered turn 3, even the pole sitter. Everybody's getting upset by those bumps in 3. Tanner Kaler in the 474, taking the high side in 1 and 2 right now.
Another clean looking machine out here on the back straightaway. Pretty simple car, but very effective, very good looking car. Black label beer on the rear of the car, and looks like Carling Manufacturing on the nose.
Flirting with the high side, getting a bit squirrely, inches away from the wall in his warm-up, bringing it down to the middle lane. He might hit the bump right here. He doesn't. He avoids it. Gonna leave the corner looking real good, coming across the start-finish line at 2:05. 3 miles per hour slower than the pole sitter right now, but we'll see if he can grab that speed down the back straightaway.
Yeah, he got really high there through 1 and 2. When you enter, or through 3 and 4 in his warm-up lap, when you enter in above that, with your right side above that white line, you lose a lot of grip up there, and it will scrub off your speed. He was running 196 through 3 and 4 in this out lap. Also was not too fast mid-corner there. He was struggling to scrubbing the car a lot. Ran about 200 miles an hour mid-corner.
Fighting that car in the bottom, hitting pretty much every bump you can hit on that bottom side of the track. Don't think we're going to see a contention for the pole, but we'll see how he does. Coming across the line sideways before he gets there, he's going to end up around a 43.399. The second slowest of the cars who haven't gotten sideways tonight.
Yeah, these cars are really affected by the bumps, Cruz. In most oval cars, you are looking at your track bar mount on the right rear or your splitter as the point of contact for the track, and hitting those isn't nearly as much of a death sentence as it is in these cars, where basically your exhaust pipes are the contact point on the ground, and if you're hitting your exhaust pipes off the asphalt, you're going to really upset the car first off, and you're going to scrub off a lot of speed. So you really need to avoid the bumps. But now we got Philip Snipes on track, who was really a dark horse this season. When the 87 car came out, he really showed a lot more performance than what he normally does in modern race cars, which is kind of a theme that we saw for a lot of guys. The guys who were up front kind of changed a little bit. A lot of guys got faster he wouldn't normally see, and a lot of fast guys kind of got slow. But Philip Snipes has been very quick all week. He's been one of the few guys I've seen so far to get down into the 42.8 second bracket.
Philip Snipe, as Hal just noted, a bit of an underdog, a bit of a dark horse as he comes across the line at 208 miles an hour in our weekly Winstall Cup Racing Series here on iRacing. It's the league that has been around since 2013, currently running the 87 car. New season to be announced very shortly, but that's pretty much where we've gathered all the people that, become our friends or become our league mates and stuff. A lot of the IGB contenders are from that league as well, so check us out on Facebook at Winstall Cup Racing Series, as we have Philip Snipes carrying tons of speed into 3 and 4, 214, but he's going to throw it to the bottom of the track, going to keep it on the bottom line, hitting those bumps, but I think he's going to drive through it, maintaining the speed of 202, leaving it.
Very solid run so far for Philip. Let's see what kind of time he can run here as he cuts through the apron and spins out across the line. A 43.005 for crew or Philip Snipes there as he blows the motor hitting the fence there. He's going to need a backup car for the IGB.
Man, he left it all in that trial, got a bit sideways before he crossed the line. He's not locked into the race. He wants to make the IGB 400 Sunday. He's going to have to go through the heats to do it.
On track
for those,
Garrett Lowe.
Go ahead.
Garrett Lowe is a pretty long-time Winslow competitor, and also, as most of them, a proud favorite in the Coke Series this year and for next year. Wood Brothers machine. Garrett was also pretty fast in this last practice session. He adapted to the car pretty quickly. So let's see what kind of a lap he can run here.
Garrett Lowe, one of the bigger names we have that have signed up for this race. If you're just joining us, you are watching the I've Got Ballz 400 qualifying, brought to you by Brandon Cruz DFS. Top 2 and fastest times lock their way into the main event on Sunday. Everybody else is going to have to go through heat races on Friday and Saturday as Garrett Lowe crosses the line at 2:08, right where you want to be to contend for the pole.
Yeah, he left a little bit of space there on in the entry 1 and 2, but he has a very solid line through mid-corner here. Very, very straight. Not much scrubbing the tires, not much slip. You really don't want that. You want the car to be nice and straight, almost like a dragster. These tires almost act like dragster tires where you really don't want to get much lateral load into them. You can keep the car running straight and clean. You'll be really fast. He hits 215 down the back straightaway and enters low in 3 and 4.
He's trying. He's wheeling. The back end of the cars wanting to step out, but he keeps it under himself, carrying a lot of speed out of turn 4. Contender for the pole, 210. I see it. He might have got it. We'll have to see. Garrett Lowe, our new pole sitter, 42.928. Barely inching out Andrew for the pole position, but we have a new pole sitter. That is Garrett Lowe in the 06 machine.
I believe Garrett might have actually given up a little bit of time there. Coming across the line, he hit the apron and it shot him up the track right before the start-finish line, and he probably gave up just a small bit of time there, and that could cost him later as we see more cars come out here and make their laps.
Your 30th car out tonight is Sean Peggle in the number 17, a Winston Cup Series regular. Got wrecked at the very end of his dual race last year, a couple positions short of making the IGB 250 last year, as last year was the last year it was called the IGB 250. The I Got Ballz 250. Now it's 400 miles, 160 laps this Sunday. Sean looking for a pole, looking to get himself locked into this year's race.
Yeah, when it comes to plate racers at Winston, Sean Peggle is a name that you know far and wide. He's got, at least 5 or 6 wins now in the past 2 or 3 seasons or years that we've been going to Talladega and Daytona. Always a name you see at the front, always a name that's going to be contending for victories at these plate tracks. He has always struggled though in qualifying. He's never really had this pace. He really doesn't know. He's tried a lot of things, but for some reason he's always seems to be at a 10th off in qualifying, and it can bite him sometimes, like it did last year when he had to race through the duels.
Yeah, no matter what happened this year, this was his first year at Michigan State. Every week he was back on the iRacing service racing in Winston, racing with us each and every week. Scrubbed off some speed in turn 4, 208 across the line. Not going to be pole, 43.088 for Sean. We'll have to pay attention to him in the heat races.
For sure, he'll be definitely a crowd favorite. He can really get the elbows out and get to the front and stay there. But again, about a 10th off of where he needed to be to get up to the pole position speed. Next on the track is going to be Sean Butler, who was always a crowd favorite and a very, very fast guy when it comes to these plate races. Last year, he was in the top 5 for basically the entire race during the IGB 250 when we were in the 2018 Gen 6.
Sean Butler running for a pole, trying to get out of those dreaded heat races. For those of you who are wondering where you can watch those, where can you find them? You can find them right here on STN. How and myself will be bringing them to you live with Zach once again helping them out. It'll be Friday, January 8th at 7:45 and 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Top 5 get locked into the IGB. Another number that I can't remember. I think it's 5 through 16th going to the LCQ. Everybody else is eliminated for the week. And then on Saturday, January 9th, 7:45 and 8:45, same deal. So 2 back-to-back heat race nights as we have Sean coming through the tri-oval this time by, carrying a good speed, gonna hit that 208 mark as he crosses the line.
Very solid speed of the Ensers 1 and 2. He really got those left sides on the yellow line there, and he's pretty much lower than I've seen most people run tonight. Carrying good speed here. Sean is always fast when it comes to plate qualifying. Always a contender for the front row. Him and Kevin Mcadams both are very, very quick when it comes to these cars. They have been since the Inter 2003 days when I first met them. Probably the lowest in 3 and 4 as well. That may work out for him, actually. He avoided some of the big bumps here and kept a lot of speed mid-corner. This could be a pole lap here, guys. Nope. 42.952 for Sean, qualifying in 4th. A very competitive field here.
Butler a few inches away from getting those top 2 coveted spots. So you want to hit as we enter our second hour in the broadcast. Thank you guys for sticking around. Thank you guys for tuning in as we have Alex Bates, a Winstell regular as well, one of our dear friends who has raced with us the entire time we've been here on iRacing, running a replica paint scheme of a street stock that he had in real life as he goes through the gears in 1 and 2.
Yeah, Alex Bates, a regular of the Nashville Fairgrounds circuit. It's street stock days. Number 8 machine. Hopefully he's got a little bit more power than he had in the street stock in this car. And I don't believe in his street stock days he was sponsored by Red Bull, but we'll let him keep it that way as he heads down the back straightaway to start his lap into 3 and 4, right about 202 miles an hour into his 3 and 4 here.
Bates, another guy who has been a part of our little group of about 6 to 10 guys for the past 3 weeks, working on the IGB setup, working with you specifically of like, hey, this car needs to do this car is doing this, giving you a lot of feedback, a lot of opinions on what to do with this car as he enters turn 1, 212 on the speedometer. Looking real good right now.
Yeah, Bates, the guy who is not locked into this event, so he is looking to try to qualify his way in through tonight. If not, he'll be headed to the heats and possibly the last chance qualifier Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Bates using lessons learned from the fast guys to enter a little bit higher in 3 and 4, and I think that might help him there. He carried a lot of speed through 3 and 4 and looked very nice to me from my perspective.
Bates with 43.085. Good enough for, top 20 in times, just not good enough for the top 2. Next driver coming out of pit road is J Dutton in another WFO machine, Monte Carlo. Very simple looking car, but it stands out. Let's see what he does here.
Dutton, another guy who you see all the time in the official series. Very, very fast guy, especially in Daytona and Talladega. You always see him at the front. Very competitive driver. See what kind of a lap time he can throw down tonight in I've Got Ballz 400 qualifying.
Dutton running the line about half a car length over the yellow. Pretty much most people have been diving in the corners. He kind of maintained that line through 3 and 4 in his warm-up lap. Green flag being displayed to the driver. Let's see how he does. 208 at the start-finish line. Exactly what you want to see. We should see him running around 42.9. We'll have to see where he ends up stacking up against Garrett Lowe.
A little bit sideways in the middle of 1 and 2 there, and it might cost him just a little bit. He did maintain good speed on mid corner there, but he did get again a little bit sideways, more than you'd like to see, a lot more than Garrett Lowe did through exit. He was a little bit down on Garrett Lowe's speed too, with the interest 3 and 4, about a mile an hour off of what Garrett ran.
I got to hand it to the drivers right now. We are currently over halfway of the guys in the field right now, or in the session. Rather, only 4 guys have spun out. 1 car upside down as Cole crosses the line with a 43.013, slightly outside that 49 or 42.9 that you wanted to see. We'll see him in a heat race later this week. Corey Cook leaving pit road in his Mobile 163 Monte Carlo. First time sign up for the IGB. First driver trying to make his first ever start in the IGB. We'll have to see if he can lock himself in through a pole position here.
Corey, another beautiful machine tonight. It is a Mobile 1 inspired retro throwback ride. Very, very nice shade of blue there on his machine, on his Chevy Monte Carlo.
So what do you think of the field so far? How are you seeing tougher competition than you expected? Are you seeing certain surprises coming up? What are you thinking right now?
Well, looking at it right now, I mean, it is a very tough field of guys. I mean, you've got the top 10 or so guys separated by less than a tenth of a second. I mean, you've got 4 guys within 200 of a second up at the front row. I mean, the front row themselves are separated by 3 1,000ths of a second. And we've got Corey Cook siders on the track, and we have our second crash of the night.
Corey, let's see if he continues. I think I knew it. I know he wants to continue. Like I said, you want to at least say you finished your lap here. Corey, gonna have to bring out the backup car for the heat races, but he tried, man. At least he didn't flip the car over, because we did see one guy flip over here. But Corey Cook, you're gonna see his chances out of pole position take it away in turn 2 again.
Yeah, we don't see many guys wreck out of 3 and 4, but we do see a lot of guys. If you don't have it settled down in middle 1 and 2, it will get loose on exit, and it can surprise you a lot.
And we're gonna bring up a replay once he finishes the lap here, but it's almost like if you're not familiar with the setup, you're gonna wreck in 2. If you are familiar and try and get too much, you're gonna lose the time in 3 and 4. That's pretty much what we're seeing so far.
As we look back on Cody's first lap here, you see he uses a lot of racetrack in entering 1 and 2 here, as you should. He diamonds it down to the bottom, and you see the car is not really settled there. And you see he never caught up with it. A lot like Kelly Yarborough was in the 83 car when he flipped over in qualifying. He was trying to really keep his foot and try to keep it down there, and he never caught back up with it. And by that time, it was over.
Almost like a spitting image of that as soon as it hit the apron, shot it back up the track. As we go back to the on-track activity, we have the 30 machine driven by Christian Sanford. Another driver also trying to make his first ever IGB 400 this week. Christian, a regular of the iRacing service, carrying a 4198 I rating. You know, this is the guy that you've seen in A class, B class, pretty much racing whatever is at the ovals every week in iRacing.
He gets kind of loose there entering the tri-oval. That didn't really hurt his speed too much, but he did take a very weird line where he entered sort of the middle and didn't really diamond it as much as he'd like to. And it did affect his turn 1 and 2 speed, as it looks like he's going to lose the car here. He may save it, or we're going to have our third crash of the night by Christian Sanford. Which is a big shame, because Christian, he did put in a lot of laps in our previous session that we had up for practice, so it does suck to see him not make it out.
Oh, he's staying in it as well. That's all I want to see, is guys just continuing the lap, just saying you want to finish the timed lap. But like as you said, Christian, the guy who was in the 2-hour practice session before this, running those laps, running fast times, competitive times. I think he just tried to get too much out of that car, probably yanked it down the corner too much. The one thing you don't want to do is feed this car too much wheel entering the corners, and that's just what snuck up on Christian right here.
Let's see if he can cross the line and beat Corey Cook's crash car time of a 57.205. He may just do it. Let's see what the time is. The first driver in the minute bracket, so kudos to him. And kudos to him for sticking it out and being a good sport and finishing the lap off. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, thank you, Christian, for good sportsmanship. We'll bring you, hopefully, another replay of that instant there. If not, we'll check out our next guy. We'll just have to look. As we see on screen, Christian's incident here, entering turn 2. Like I said, just gave the car too much wheel entering the corner, hit a bump, sent it up the track. He tried to bring it back down, and that's when the rear end of the car got loose, hit the apron, and at that point you're just along for the ride. You can't really do anything there.
Yeah, if you get behind on steering on entry, which he did there, and then he got up the track near the wall, and it spooked him probably a little bit, and he pulled the car down, and that was it. That was all she wrote for him. Here we see Justin Malone on track now in his Radio Shack machine. One of those beautiful cars that we'll see on the service. You see him from time to time in the official series, and I believe he ran in the Firecracker 250 earlier last year when this car was first released.
Man, I love those white wheels on this car. I mean, I love colored wheels of any type, but those white wheels really stand out on this 53 machine as he leaves the corner 199 and entering the tri-oval across the line, this time by a green flag given to Justin. 207 at the line, probably going to be contending around the 43-second bracket.
Yeah, he's not using all the race trick that he needs to use here. And a little bit loose there in 1 and 2. Not doing the greatest speed through 1 and 2. This is probably not going to be a pole lap. However, it probably will be a competitive lap. We've seen a lot of guys, depending on how those 3 and 4 goes, where they have a very good 1 and 2, and then they have a very poor 3 and 4, and it evens out their laps. So far, it looks like he's done a good job avoiding the bumps, and it might be enough to get him up towards the front of the field here, even though, nothing but bragging rights if you don't get that top row. But very good effort here from Justin Mallow, but it looks like he will be racing in the duels come Friday or Saturday. 43-185 on the board.
Falling in just behind myself, Keedy and John on the lap time. Next up is another Brandon, because I know this right now is officially the Brandon show with Brandon Cruz and Brandon Howell calling the shots. We got another Brandon here out on the track. It's Brandon Hawken in the number 33 machine. Hawken a little bit slower getting through these gears. Sorry, I keep talking over you there, driver. Sorry about that. But it seemed like he made a hiccup or he missed a shift from second to third. I couldn't really tell, but that's just what it sounded like.
Yeah, I saw that too. But I was going to say this another beautiful machine here. Period. Correct. Got PTR engines in the back of the car from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not sure if that would be where he's from or has any affiliation with. But again, beautiful looking 33 machine. Red, white, and black. Perfect color combination if you ask me. Comes in the line, very solid speed here, 208 miles an hour, same as what we saw of Garrett Lowe. Let's see if he can hit that 213 mark that Garrett hit going through 1 and 2.
He hit it and was just on the cusp of 214. Got a bit squirrely there. Bump sneaking up on him. You can see he's wheeling it. Sparks flying out from under that car as he flies down this back straightaway. 209 at the halfway point down the straightaway, entering turn 3 right here. 214, 215. Let's see if he can get to 216, just short again, but carrying tremendous speed here, scrubbing it off right there with the bumps, but carrying 204, 203, 202 out of the corner. Catching the apron there, scrubbing off some speed. Don't think we're going to see a pole contender, but I think we'll see him in the 42.9s.
And we do, a 42.940, a very good lap. However, not fast enough to knock Andrew and Garrett off the pole.
But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, look over here on pit lane. The Intimidator, the black number 3, driven by Nicholas Doucette. This right here has been the fastest guy throughout the off-season of Winsdale, throughout the last month and a half of IGB testing. Nicholas Doucette, expected pole sitter. We'll see if he lives up to those expectations.
Yeah, Nick is always fast on plate tracks, and he painted up another beautiful machine here. He's painted up my machine and Cruz's machine as well. Very, very talented painter. You probably run one of his cars on training paints at some point in your iRacing career. Also extremely fast. I believe that if he ever went and rode the Pro or into the Pro Series, he could probably make the Pro Series or the Coke Series. Always been kind of a sleeper on iRacing. You don't really see from him too much, but one of the few guys this week to run an 8. He was also fastest in the last session as well. Let's see what he can do here. I'm very excited to see this lap.
Early into 208 miles an hour across the line. I mean, this line is perfect right now. 213 entering the corner. You can see him wheeling it. He has his diamond down. He knows exactly where he wants to turn. He's exiting that corner perfectly. You'll see him come up about midway through the track, as we've seen him do the last month and a half. 210 midway through the back straightaway, entering turn 3, 215. I mean, this is going to be a top 3 speed right here.
Oh, for sure. carrying mad speed. He's hit those bumps very well. He got a little bit loose there in 3 and 4, but it didn't hurt him too much. He's probably going to drag it to the apron here if I know him, and he will cross the line. Oh, he stays on the track. Let's see the time. 43.930 to knock off Andrew Piertneck, and his former teammate Garrett Lowe and him are sweeping the top row so far.
200ths of a second separating Garrett Lowe and Nicholas Doucette from the pole position. I'm going to run down pit road. Let's see if we can bring him in here, because that is a fast time.
Nick, you got us?
I hear you, drivers.
Well,
Nicholas,
Nick, we're talking over
we both want to talk to you, man. We both just want to interview you so bad. Oh my gosh. Here, you take him, Hal. You take him.
All right, Nick. What a lap from you there. It wasn't enough to knock Garrett off the pole there, but front row for you, 1,000 of a second off of Garrett. How'd that car feel out there, man?
You know, you built a really good setup. I got to give you credit to that. You know, it's definitely frustrating, but I can't complain. It was a really good lap. Went through turn 1. I knew I let it drift up too high. I caught the bump wrong. Set me down the backstretch. I was setting at a good enough speed, and I knew if I hit 3 and 4 fairly well, I could correct it. And I saved a little bit of time in 3 and 4. It just still wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of perplexed that you ran 3 and 4 on the bottom there. Most of the week, I've seen the guys who run 8s run right around the top side on the entry, and I was kind of surprised to see you do that. Can you tell us why, Nick?
I just stuck with that the whole time I was practicing and testing. I know some other guys ran different lines entering 3 and 4. I know you would tried a different line. We'll definitely see how you do as Brendan's calling you to your car. But I just felt like running down low and just letting it set up the track and then arcing it down in 4 was going to be a fast way to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in my car now, and let's see how I do.
All right. Well, good luck to you. Let's see how you do.
Yeah, best work later in the week. I'll let you talk as you didn't come through last time. Our last car out was Parker Alexander, Winston regular, a guy who raced his way into the IGB 250 last year through the poles, through the duels, didn't knock down the pole. But let's ride with Brandon Howe as he goes through his warm-up lap.
Yep, just made the shift in the 4th gear there. Pretty solid run down the back straightaway here. Got a good bit of tire spin and tire heat in the car off of pit road here. Entering in the 3 and 4 here, looking for that white line on the right side. I want to put my right side tires right about there. Enter through here, about 200 miles an hour mid-corner. Track feels pretty grippy right now. No complaints so far. Very, very hot session. Probably the hottest we've had so far. Looking to kind of diamond here and just barely tap the left sides against the yellow line there as I enter through here. I really love to let it drift out to the wall here and then enter it in, just kind of drive it straight through here. And kind of let it drift, hold it there, and pull it right back down, and just kiss that yellow line, then point it straight at the wall again on the exit of 1 and 2. Unlike most guys, I'm probably not going to run the bottom here. I'm going to try to run the top side here, keep the car up top, let it do its thing, drift up right about to the white line, the bump right there, and now that tells me it's time to get down to the yellow line here. A little bit of mistake there hitting that yellow line. That might just cost me. Let's see. I'm going to pull it right to the grass, right across the line here. 9:53. Yep, hitting that yellow line did not help me. And I lose the car a little bit on exit. That's going to hurt.
How you tried, still hit a 42.9. That is nothing bad at all. As we come down to our last 11 drivers, guys, thank you so much for sticking it out, watching this with us. As right now on track, we have the number 88 of Andrew Faroneros, a yet again Winstell regular, a guy who has always been fast, and no matter what vehicle he's driving, an A car, a B car, the trucks, the 87 car, no matter what it is, if Andrew's in it, he has a chance to win.
That is very true. He was the Winstell champion a few seasons ago, not very long ago at all, and always fast.
A Winstell contender, a guy who was a contender last year in the IGB 250. He got caught up in the last race mayhem that you, Brennan McGee, pretty much half the field was caught up in out of turn 4 or out of turn 2, as we have him flying through 1 and 2 at 212. We'll see how he does.
Very, very loose there through the mid corner. That really cost him on exit there. Only 200 miles an hour on exit. When you say only 200 miles an hour, these cars are flying. One of the fastest set of cars we've run for an IGB, only beat out by the COT unrestricted that we ran in 2019.
Yeah, 2019 pole record was 226.35 miles per hour, driven by Tyler Head. This time by Andrew, comes across the line at 2:08 at a 43.250. Next up, a guy who has helped shape Winstell and the Atlanta Motor Speedway into what it is today, Tyler Head, one of the hardest working individuals I have ever met, whether it's for leagues, whether it's for Atlanta. I mean, Tyler is always working hard. He does so much. I mean, my hat is off to Tyler. He has helped create this event. He's helped create the setup. I mean, Tyler, if you guys are familiar with the IGB 250, he was in the booth for the very first running 9 years ago. He has been a part of this event throughout those 9 years. I mean, if you look at the IGB, the three guys you look at are Alex Bates, Tyler Head, and Brennan McGee. I mean, these guys are why this event is here, why it's gotten so big. And we're going to watch Tyler go through the trial at 2:08 across the start-finish line right here.
Yeah, very solid outlet for Tyler here. He's been kind of a dark horse too. You don't really see him up front at plate qualifying, but given that he's put a lot of time in the testing and building these setups, he does have a lot of experience in this car that a lot of these guys have not gotten so far. The setup has been out officially for about 2 weeks now, but again, until you really get into a session and really sink your teeth into it, it can be a lot of big challenge for guys who don't expect it.
I mean, it's easy to run a 43.1. It's hard to run a 42.9. I mean, a 42.9 is, you are putting hours and hours into this session. I mean, this is one of the best paying events all year outside of the Pro Series. So he crossed the line 2:09, a 42.924. Tyler Head takes the pole position from Garrett Lowe, an underdog that we didn't. I mean, he always had the chance to do it, but seeing Tyler Head take it by 4/1000ths of a second, I mean, we got to get Tyler up in here when he's done talking in race control.
Yeah, definitely. That was not expected from us. But as I said, he was a dark horse, and he has spent a lot of time in this car. Perfect run from Tyler, though. Knocks Nicholas Doucette off the front row and pumps Garrett Lowe back to second. Again, a very, very tight difference. Only 4/1000ths of a second faster than Garrett Lowe. Unbelievable how close these times are up front.
You know, I had just mentioned that Tyler Head currently holds the pole position record for the IGB 2019. He has a chance to possibly be the first ever two-time pole sitter for the IGB. I mean, we're getting big enough to say pole sitters and multiple poles and multiple winners. So, I mean, Tyler Head showing speed early this week.
Yeah, let's get Tyler Head down here and talk to him. Because I think you got him by his car.
And I'm coming down here to Tyler Head. Tyler, I had just mentioned that you have the pole record for the IGB set in 2019, but how does it feel right now to knock off Nicholas Doucette, Garrett Lowe, Andrew, and Brandon Hawking for that?
I'm really surprised. That's probably the best lap that I've run since we put this setup together. I should say Hal put this setup together. Working at it for a couple hours in practice, in particular today, and didn't really feel like I had that kind of speed. But I think I had the benefit of, one, being able to watch a bunch of other people go out and see where they went right and where they went wrong, and two, Hal's in-car reporter lap, I think, helped me out too. I didn't do all of his tricks or anything, but it put a little bit of information in the back of my mind while I was going, and pleasantly surprised with the result.
Well, I'm glad to have helped you out. I mean, I hit the apron on my lap, and it really, I think I could have been up there with you if I didn't hit the apron, but hitting the apron on the exit of 3 and 4 really sent me back to about 7th position.
Yeah, you had a flyer going for sure. I think that you would have been possibly an 8 on that lap, but hey, nonetheless, you put together a fantastic setup, and I think everybody that's running here right now is having a fantastic time, whether they're, contending for a front row spot or, they're just sort of running mid-pack as far as times go. I mean, this is all very fun, and I know you've put together a good race setup as well.
Yep, can't wait to see that in action on Friday and Saturday.
Tyler,
Yeah.
thank you for stepping away real quick. We just wanted to say, thanks for helping make this event what it is, and we're happy to see you have tremendous speed this early.
Lot of fast cars left to go still, so we'll see. But hey, we know we got a weekend of fun racing on tap here in just a few days, so I'm looking forward to that most of all.
Atlanta, you wanna plug anything in for Atlanta since we have you here, or no?
Yeah, Atlanta Motor Speedway, it has 2 race weekends in 2021. We've got the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 weekend, March 20th and 21st, and we've got the Quaker State 400 presented by Walmart weekend, July 10th and 11th. So very exciting stuff. You can get an Insiders Club package giving you tickets for all 5 NASCAR races this year, starting at just $98. AtlantaMotorspeedway.com.
Sounds like a great deal, Tyler.
It's a fantastic deal.
Now get out of here and get back to your normal area.
Tell you what, I might have to drive from Texas to go to Atlanta this year if COVID still doesn't keep stuff shut down. We saw Alex Kolenex in the Iron Maiden machine run his lap as we were interviewing Tyler. This time by, we have Tristan Haggertson in the 27 car taking his lap at 2:09 across the line, 43.043 even. Very
Yeah,
even 43s almost across the board.
Yeah, Tristan was pretty fast in the past couple weeks in the official series, but not enough for Tristan Hagenstein to get to the front row, and it's Tristan Hagenstein photography machine. Very beautiful paint scheme as well.
Oh, my bad. I guess Alex had gone out of order or anything.
Scoring issue on the car. I'm not sure what happened. It sounds like possibly they didn't clear the black flag, and in order the transponder fell off or something happened. But Alex Kolenex back on the track again. It sounds like from what it looks like last time he ran out, it was a 43.082, so he's going to get a good opportunity here to see what he ran his last time and really have a fresh track and fresh memory of what he just ran. Maybe we'll see him contend for the pole. Sometimes mistakes and little errors really help you out. Let's see what he can do here.
Interesting. Well, I guess that worked out perfect for him. We were talking to Tyler. His scoring didn't count. He basically got a free practice run that nobody else has, and he has an Iron Maiden scheme out there. I'm more of a Kiss fan and Motorhead fan myself, but I can listen to some good Iron Maiden as he flies through turns 1 and 2. You got a favorite Iron Maiden song? Hell no.
Not much of a classic rock guy. My music taste pretty much starts in the mid-90s of grunge and since current, but not much of a dad rock fan.
Oh, come on. You're missing out. You got to listen to Iron Maiden. Come on now.
All right, I'll have to put on some Iron Maiden this week then, Cruz.
Yeah, shout out to all the Iron Maiden fans and Eddie. You don't know Eddie. How that's this little skeleton dude that comes on stage at an Iron Maiden concert, whatever. Alex ran a 42.914, taking that pole position away from Tyler. I'm shocked. I did not expect that. Shout out to Alex Kolenex for taking that pole position away from Tyler. Is he in TeamSpeak? I'm not sure.
It doesn't look like it. However, what an incredible lap. As we said, these guys, took him misfortune on his end and managed to go out there and pretty much, wipe the field down. Congratulations to him and his Iron Maiden machine. I actually listen to Iron Maiden now because he did that.
Yeah, you gotta die with your boots on. You gotta run to the hills and die with your boots on. Come on now. But yeah, his first lap was a 43.082. I really think that helped him get that 42.914. I can't really hate on the choice by officials to send him back out there because the scoring messed up for whatever reason. It's the same thing as if you didn't have a receiver on your car and your scoring didn't work. I mean, if they can't officially get your time, they're going to say, hey, you got to come back down. You got to put the just want to blank out what it's called. But you gotta put that back on your car, and I mean that's what he did. Alex went out there, took that practice time that he basically got for free, and then took the pole down with a 42.914.
Yeah, I mean, these sort of things happen, Sometimes there are mistakes that are made, and, nothing that Alex could have controlled. It was completely out of his control, whether it be iRacing or something in the race administration. But, yeah, he went up back there, and his first lap was also very competitive, so let's not take that away from him. Congratulations to him. It takes a lot to get that kind of a lap, and it wasn't a fluke. I'm sure if you put him back out there again, he could probably run something very similar.
Oh yeah, like I said, that 42.9 is certainly, I mean, that's difficult to run, and transponder was the word I was trying to think of. So we obviously had a transponder issue for Alex, got it squared away, and he took that pole position away. Hawkins 2 with a 43.606 in that 60 machine there. Running down to the last few remaining cars. The remaining drivers we got left are Aaron Smith, Justin Levine, Zachary Robinson, Gabriel Marcello, Joshua Chin, Dylan Roberts, and the creator of this whole event, Brennan McGee. Justin Levine, throwback to the old LSR TV days, not just when I broadcasted there, but the Rod car or the Rod Truck series, the Super Speedway Cup series. If you guys watched any of those series back in the day, this is like 2018, 2017, 2016, Justin Levine was always there. Same thing with Seth DeMerchant. That's another series Seth DeMerchant ran. I ran it as well. It was nothing but super speedways pretty much all year. So a lot of practice on these very difficult tracks. Justin Levine, I don't know if he'll take down pole position, but I mean, Justin, a guy who has tremendous experience at these tracks, coming down to take the green flag for his lap.
A little bit slow on the speed there. Most of the fast guys are feeling about 208 at the line. Very hard to make it speed in these cars. It's very, very momentum driven, and you have to be very, very precise and basically just carry the speed that you get all the way through. If you have any speed at all, it's going to really hurt your lap. You see him a little bit slow through the middle of 1 and 2 as well, about 199 on corner exit. I don't think there's going to be a pole lap tonight, Cruz.
I don't think it will be, but I do believe this is his first lap on the setup. So not wrecking, not wrecking. You can certainly clap your hands at that as you see him wheeling that car. I mean, it's wanting to tank slap. It's wanting to do everything, and he's hanging on through this corner. Still not dropping below 2. Oh, he gets sideways. He saves it. Look at that. Snuck up on him, got sideways. He saved it.
Excellent job saving that race car. Excellent piece of car control for turn number 4. 43.886 isn't going to put him up near the front, but again, a very good showing from Justin Levine in terms of his car control in his first event in the setup.
Probably one of the fastest saves he'll ever have to do on the service, certainly in this race. And at least he has an idea of what he has to deal with in the heat races here. Gabriel, yet again, a Winstow regular, carrying the 15 for pretty much the entire time I've known him in the Motorcraft Ford machine here. Another guy who has helped build the setup, giving you feedback through the off season. I mean, this is a guy who I think can get a top 10 speed, get a top 10 finish in speed.
Yeah, Gabe's always a guy who is kind of, you don't really think much about him in terms of always being at the front. But again, there are times when he always shines. And plate tracks, he's not really someone who makes his presence known. But man, if he's not like Kevin Harvick in a closer, where in the last few laps, if he's not at the front, you'd be surprised. He's put a lot of time in this car over the off season, and let's see what kind of a lap he can run here. It might be a pole lap.
207 across the line, 1 mile per hour short of that 208 threshold that we're looking at. But let's see if he can save or get some speed through the corner. Run a bit lower, pretty much right on that yellow line, a line that we haven't seen a whole lot of drivers do, but we'll see if he brings it towards the wall, and that he does. Carries that momentum down the back straightaway.
A very good 1 and 2 there. Took a pretty similar line to what I took, which I felt was probably one of the best 1 and 2s that we've had. I just messed up in 3 and 4. Again, to the bottom in 3 and 4 here, using lessons learned from Nick Doucette. A little bit low on corner exit speed, but this could be a very good lap here. We don't know. Let's see what he does as he crosses the line.
Gabriel 209 across the line, 42.982 short of the pole position, but certainly in contention in the 9s. He'll be a contender in the heat races, I can promise you that, later this week.
That he will be. Again, a very solid lap time there. Pretty much, I mean, you know, we see 982 putting him about 10th or 11th on the speed charts, but that's only 700th off of what.
Up next is Josh. Yeah. Up next is Joshua Chin in what I originally thought was a Menards game, but it just has everything. You got Nutella, you got Dr. Pepper, you got everything. Hashtag I stand with Butler. I mean, team looked like a Team Penske. Not really sure what's on there. Got a lot of things on this 93 machine. Got through the gears very, very well on his warm-up right there.
Yep, Josh Chin is a setup builder for Craig's Setup Shop. He works in the IndyCar on their road stuff. So he knows how to build a setup, and he knows how to take a machine and make it fast. He has limited experience in this car. The first time we've really seen him on the setup was tonight in practice. Let's see what he can do here.
Coming across the line, 207, just like Gabe last time by, 1 mile per hour short of what we want to see. Let's see, he's going to enter the corner around about a lane higher than our previous driver, Gabe. He's going to bring it back down to that yellow a little bit before, midway through the corner. Going to leave and head straight for that wall.
Yeah, very solid line down the back straightaway here. He's using up all the racetrack, which I'd love to see you guys do. Pretty solid speed there. Tickled 215, not really solid 215 like we've seen a lot of guys do. Again, taking that bottom line through 3 and 4. Getting a very good cut on the exit there. This could be a very solid lap here, Cruz.
Just going to have to see 208, 209, 210, 209 right at the line, 42.999, just under the 43-second lap, ending at 207.569 miles per hour. Nothing bad at all. Not pole, but certainly quick. On your screen right now, the number 22 of Dylan Roberts in the black and green machine with one of the higher I ratings that we've had signed up in the 5800s right now. A 499 SR. I mean, I know a lot of people don't care about SR a whole lot. I really do. And I mean, that's impressive. I think that's more impressive than the I rating. To have an I rating that high with that good of a safety rating is great. Also, a Winstell regular, a guy who has been in our practice sessions the last few months working on this setup, working to get this event to be, you know, put on good racing, put on good competition, have a setup that, you know, drivers can actually drive. So I expect Dylan to put up a good time here.
Yeah, Dylan's been here for a very, very long time. A very good starting speed there. 208 at the line, almost 209. This could also be a very good lap he holds it together here. He had a very good outlap. Very solid 1 and 2 there. Carrying a lot of speed, a lot of momentum. Never below 203 miles an hour through 1 and 2. And you love to see it all the way up to the Wally tracks. This is going to be a hot lap here if you can hold it together.
This is going to be fast. He's flying almost 216 into the corner at 215. Though, lane above the yellow, going to avoid those bumps on the bottom. Look at this. We might have pole contention right here by Dylan Roberts. I mean, he's still gaining speed.
This is fast.
Oh my gosh, let's check this out. The 4 positions short, 42.29.
Only
right
4
there.
1,000ths off the front row. This is a very, very competitive field. But that was a very, very solid lap from Dylan Roberts right there.
I mean, he left it all on that track. I mean, you can't be prouder than that. To show up, to not really show that speed the last few months and be that quick in qualifying. I mean, we knew he was quick, but he had not showed top 5 speed. And I mean, to show it here is, I mean, that's all you wanted to do. That's all you want to say you did. You know, it doesn't matter how fast you are in practice. You just got to back it up in qualifying, and he went far above that. Zachary Robinson coming out of turn 2 right now in the 48 Ally machine.
Very beautiful machine, very simple, and almost a retro chic in tribute to Jimmy Johnson's scheme this year. Zachary Robinson, a name we haven't really seen very much in the past couple seasons of Winstell, but again, was always very competitive when he ran.
Yeah, I don't think he ever had a win, but he has a couple top 5s.
He was always very good at plate tracks, which is, you know, obviously what will help you out here. However, not necessarily at the speed they crossed the line. They're only about 206 miles an hour. I don't believe this run's going to be a pole run. However, he may be pretty competitive. Let's see what he can do.
He'll probably compete. Oh, that's not going to help at all. He got sideways, saved the car, didn't get in the wall, but anytime you fly up a lane and a half like that, you're just fighting all the friction in the corner and you're scrubbing off speed. So probably going to be around 15th fastest. I'm gonna guess at around a 43.07. That's what I'm guessing here.
Oh, that sounds about a solid time there. I'm going to say more about a 43.3 if I had to take a guess. Let's see what it does as they cross the line here at 208 miles an hour. 43.501 for Zachary Robinson.
Oh man, I was giving him way too much speed. I was like, I know you can do it, Zach. You can find that speed in 3 and 4. Last two contenders. We got Brennan McGee, and then I believe we have Aaron Smith to round out qualifying here. So, based on how McGee does, either Tyler Head or Alex will be locked into actually, however he does, Alex is pretty much locked in, because I don't think Brennan is going to get second fastest. I don't think he's going to take pole. I think we can call Alex locked into the race. The real fight here will be if anybody can knock off Tyler Head for the second starting position.
I don't know. Brennan's been very fast so far. He ran a very low 9 in practice earlier today, and he, again, has more experience than most anybody else in this setup. So when it comes to pulling out miracles, Brennan can sometimes do that.
I think
Very
he had a
speed
40.
3 and 4 there.
Yeah, I think in the last practice session he had a 42.919, somewhere around there. So based on that, that would put him second fastest. We'll have to see 208, barely 208 at the line. It'll be close. He'll hit a 42.9 for sure. Brendan McGee, like we've been saying, a leader, almost the face of the IGB over the last few years, the guy who has really reached out to get people signed up. He helped organize all this. I mean, this event wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Brendan McGee. I mean, we need to really tip our hats off to him and Winstill. I mean, he put so much work in on the iRacing service to make all these big events and all these great series and leagues happen.
Yeah, indeed. Brendan McGee is really the driving force behind Winstill and the IGB. Puts in a lot of work every year to make this as fun of an event as possible. Cross the line on a very solid run. Let's see what we can do here. 920. He is going to knock Tyler Head out of the front row. As you predicted, Cruz.
He's second. 1/1000th off the time that I mentioned that I think he would run, or I think he ran in practice rather. I think. You can't ask for a better time out of McGee. 5 or 4 1/1000ths faster than Tyler Head. That'll knock Tyler Head off the front row, and that'll lock Alex into the top 2 starting positions with the last driver for this evening, Aaron Smith II, running a beautiful looking number 70 car. If you've ever ran against Aaron Smith, he runs what I call the banana boat car, even though it doesn't have banana boat on it. It's just usually a yellow and black car. This time we have multiple colors on there.
Yeah, he has probably the most unique scheme we've seen so far. It almost like a GT car. It looks like it's a Fox body Mustang from about 1993, so maybe that little bit of aero will help him out.
I mean, you want a throwback. I mean, you got your Toyota Intimidator. This guy has, what do you say, a Mustang? Yeah, this is a cool looking car, man.
Yeah, that it is. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's cool looking. Oh, Aaron had a little bit of a wiggle there off of 3. That may hurt his lap speed here as he comes to the line. Let's see here. 207 it looks like he's going to be running. So not too far down. Aaron Smith did qualify his way into the Firecracker 250 this year, so he is very good in these cars at this track. A little bit low on speed entering 1 there. He did not hit the 213 that I like to see. However, he is taken very similar to my line, so I do like seeing that. Let's see how it fares for him off of turn 2 here. Using up all the racetrack, as I've instructed these guys to do many times. You want to try to put your right side tires right in that shadow that he's doing there, and it'll really help you get some good grip on entry.
Aaron Smith, a name that you know pretty much in every series, a name that has been a Winstill regular, a name that has been at the top split of every series here on iRacing, comes out of turn 4 as the last car for the 2021 IGB 400 qualifying. 209 across the line, 43.008. That would lock in Alex Kolinix and Brennan McGee as your 2 drivers locked into the IGB 400 this Sunday.
Yeah, congratulations both Alex Kalonix and Brendan McGee. I don't see Alex Kalonix anywhere in our server, but in a minute we can drag down Brendan McGee and get his thoughts on his qualifying lap and the race itself, given that he's one of the main promoters.
What an amazing display of speed we have seen this evening. I mean, look how close this field is. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 drivers inside the 43-second bracket. I mean, that is amazing. That's absolutely wild. You can see on screen right now how close the times were at the end of this event. Your top 12 on the screen right now.
Let's go ahead and drag in Brendan McGee and get his thoughts on his second place qualifying run.
Walking over to Brendan McGee, as I said, we don't have Alex in the TeamSpeak to talk about his pole position effort right there, but we do have the man, the myth, the legend, Brendan McGee, the guy who has helped create this event. As I said, Brendan, what do you think of that fast time you just did there?
I can't believe it. I was shocked. I came across the line. I screamed into the microphone. I was like, oh my God, I did it. I did it. I did it. I made it in. Oh, that was close. Thank you guys for broadcasting. It's been an awesome broadcast up here. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. I have my lap going. And I was like, oh my God, I'm still doing 202, 203 off turn 2. And I was like, as long as I don't screw up 3 and 4. And I watched my speed coming off turn 4 and it was holding 203. And I was like, I might have this, but I got to hit the apron right. And I barely got to the apron just right. And I was like, I freaking did it coming across the line.
Congratulations, man. That was a challenge. I couldn't face it. I clipped the apron off of 3 and 4. I think I could have put a challenge to you if I didn't do that. But you and Alex Kalonix really put on a show out there.
Yes, it was a ton of fun watching qualifying and being part of qualifying this year. We had, 54 cars attempt a lap. That is the IGA Ballz 250 record. Last year we were sitting at 33. And yeah, it's awesome because everyone's been such a good sport about this year and whatnot. Like even the people that spun out, they kept going, finished their laps. One guy flipped upside down, so he couldn't keep going. But this has been a fun qualifying session, and thank you guys for sticking it out here for almost 2 hours and broadcasting it start to finish. And I know you guys are also commentating the heats on Friday and Saturday and the last chance qualifier on Sunday before the IGA Ballz 400. So lots of fun to still be had here this week, guys, on STN Racing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Thank you to Zach Johnson for putting all the work and effort into this as well, for getting the ticker and everything ready, because I know that takes a few hours and just getting everything set up. And thank you to Brandon and both Brandons, I should say, Cruz and Howe, for sponsoring this race. $1,000 purse this year. That's nothing to balk at. That's a lot of money up for grabs. You get $250 just for winning the race. So, lots of fun this year. This is by far the biggest IGA Ballz event that we have ever had.
Well, thank you for continuing it, putting it on. Thank you for helping build this whole week, for helping build this setup. I mean, this was a show. I know a lot of people find qualifying boring, but we had a lot of viewers this entire race, a lot of fast times. I mean, the talent inside the top 10, the top 20 in times. I mean, this is the toughest competition I think I've ever seen entering a week for an event.
And that's just it. The thing is that when you look at this, if you make it through the heats, you're going up against guys that have 6, 7, 8,000 I rating for half the field in almost each heat. It is very, very competitive this year. I would not be shocked to see the IGA Ballz 400 strength of field sitting at about 6,200 this year by the time you base in the lock-ins and the people that will advance. It's very competitive. So if you even get into the race or get close, you should honestly feel very good about yourself, because you had to take out a lot of stiff competition just to get there.
And I think that goes back to, I mean, I know you said that guys had good sportsmanship of continuing a lap even if we didn't spin out, or even if they spun out. And we were saying the same thing during the time. I mean, just saying that you put a Q lap down for this event is something in and of itself, because there's a lot of people who didn't have the skill, who didn't want to sign up for it, who, I mean, just like I said, look at the competition. I mean, just trying to attempt to qualify for the front row is an achievement in and of itself.
That it is. I'm a little nervous about starting front row on next Sunday. I can tell you that, because I think I'm going to have to get some more draft practice at the front of the field based on where I'm starting here. So it looks like I'm going to be getting out the old testing car and getting ready because I got some people to hold off next Sunday, I think.
That you do, Brennan.
Yeah, well, and this will be the last thing I say before we bring up Alex, but Brennan, you've been in every single IGB event. You've been a contender for the win every event. Hopefully the second starting position and the second pit on pit road will help you out a ton this Sunday.
I hope so. I've come close 3 times in the IGA Ballz 250 it was then. I came close in 2015, 16, and even last year, as we had a very violent crash coming off turn 2 on the final lap. I hope I can close the deal. I don't know if this year is going to be the year because it's wild, the amount of competition. But thank you guys for commentating, and I will see you guys on Sunday on the track.
And that was Brennan McGee, the guy, like I said, constantly, who has helped made this happen, and he's going to be starting second in his 9th I've Got Ballz event. He's going to be trying to get the win here as I wander down pit road as I try and find Alex Kolinix, a driver we did not expect to show up. I mean, the story behind you getting a second run, I know some people were kind of questioning that. I certainly don't. It's the same thing as if a transponder wasn't working on a car. I think you getting that run is perfectly fine. How do you feel about starting first in the I've Got Ballz 400?
Well, I wasn't expecting that, that's for sure. I definitely didn't set the greatest lap the first time around, which is why I'm blessed that happened. Blessing upon the gods, considering my absolutely horrific iRacing week I've had this week. This is definitely a nice way to finish it.
Well, I would say that's an understatement because I would argue that you've qualified first for an event that makes bigger and bigger history each year, and to say you started on the pole for this race is very, very impressive. Seeing the people who have qualified on the pole. I mean, last year was Seth the Merchant. Logan Clampett won this race last year. I mean, you're going to be among those names that people talk about in promos and talking about who you got to look at entering the race. I mean, this puts you in a class that not a lot of people are a part of.
Yeah, that's definitely a big deal, especially since I do want to try and attempt to run Road to Pro this year. Hopefully hook up with some people who could help me with setups and stuff and try and go for it, but try and get my safety rating up first. Wasn't great this week.
Oh, well, let's see if we can get you some help there. I mean, people, if you're out there, if you're a sponsor, if you're looking to help somebody out, help Alex out over here. He qualified first, just won $15, and he's going to be starting first in the 1,000 to win I've Got Ballz 400 on Sunday live on STN here. I mean, Alex, what did you think of this setup? Because I haven't seen your name a whole lot in the practice sessions leading up to this. So what did you think getting on the track, seeing this competition? What do you think about all this?
I mean, this setup is quick. It's actually really nice. It's almost grippier the hotter it is, because yesterday I ran with the wrong temperature and it was looser than it was here. I basically spent the last 4 hours before the event just practicing laps over and over and over and over, and it was still hotter here than it was in my practice.
What do you think about the race setup? Have you tried that a whole lot? Do you know what to expect? Have you looked at the previous races here? What's your kind of strategy, per se, entering Sunday's race?
Well, I think part of the issue comes with these cars are kind of new to this race, so it's going to be a bit of an issue. I do need to run some laps around that practice setup. The race setup. And I hope I don't cause a wreck. That would definitely suck. But hey, let's have some fun with this race. First, I actually should, before we go on, I should thank my dad, because he bought me all the stuff that I have here, triple monitors, nice Fanatec wheel and everything. Thank him a lot for that. And just got to thank you guys for hosting this event and making it a fixed setup race, so guys like me who aren't great with setups can run and do well.
Yeah, man. Thanks for showing up and having a good time. Again, we haven't really seen you much, and it was pretty shocking to see you put a time like that up on the board. But as you say, you're running for Road to Pro, and I mean, what better way to gain the confidence of your peers? Because I mean, we're going to have 9 to 10 black stripes in this field, it looks like. So if you can race amongst them and really get their respect, then I mean, you may very well launch yourself on a very good road to pro season if you get noticed. It's happened to a few guys before.
Not even, or adding on to that, I mean, you said you're nervous about causing a wreck. I mean, you put down the fastest time in this session with this setup. I mean, 6 thousandths faster than anybody else. I mean, that seems like a small number, but I mean, it's a really big accomplishment. I wouldn't sell that short. I mean, I think if you can run that time, you're going to be just fine come Sunday.
That's definitely great. I'm hoping I should do well because last time when they ran the firecracker events, I was running basically second behind Blake Reynolds the almost entire race of the Firecracker 200 and seemed to do pretty well there. Only got caught up in a wreck at the end of the race. So let's hope I could carry that kind of ability here into this race.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. You got the best starting position, so I can only say that luck is on your side for this Sunday. Al, you got any closing thoughts before we start wrapping this up, before I start talking about the schedule for this week's events?
No, I think we've all hit nail on the head here. I want to thank everybody else who came out and put down a lap. Again, we had more cars this year than we did last year by a decent margin, and pretty high strength of talent this year. I hope everyone had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun in the booth, and I had a lot of fun trying to guide you guys on a lap as I kind of messed mine up.
Yeah, you actually probably would have set the quickest lap if you didn't hit the apron. You were flying through there.
Yeah, but you know, you did it and I didn't, so that's all there is to it. Thanks for showing up, Alex.
Yep, thank you guys so much. Great to talk to you.
Yes, sir. We're going to send you right back up now.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, that'll bring an end to the 2021 I've Got Ballz 400 qualifying night. Your top two in fastest times being locked in there, which are Alex Kolinix and Brennan McGee. Alex walking away with $15 there. Friday, January 8th at 7:45 and 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The two heat races, top five from those events, locked their way into the IGB on Sunday. I believe 6th through 15th locked their way into the last chance qualifier. Everybody else is eliminated from the week's racing. Saturday, January 9th, 7:45 and 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time here on STN. Heat races 3 and 4. Yet again, top five advance, 6th through 15th, I believe, go to the LCQ. Everybody else is done. Sunday, January 10th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the last chance qualifier. Once again, live on STN. Will fill the remaining spots for the 2021 I've Got Ballz 250. 25 laps for that race there. And then the big main event itself, Sunday, January 8th, live on STN, 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time, the 9th annual I've Got Ballz 400, a $1,000 purse, 160 lap dash. The payouts: winner gets $250, second place $125, third place $100, fourth place $65, fifth place $60, and then we're paying out all the way to the 20th position. A lot of money up for grabs, a lot of bragging rights, a lot of tough competition. Hal, you got anything else to add?
Nope. I just can't wait to see everybody out on track Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be a fun week. This setup that we ran tonight was just the tip of the iceberg as far as the fun we have planned in store for you guys. Put a lot of love and time into this race, and we can't wait to see everyone out and having a good time.
And I can't wait for that either. We want to thank all the viewers who have come out to watch this. Thank you for tuning us out. Zach, thank you so much for letting us hop in this week and help you out in the booth. And thank you for broadcasting. Thank you guys for watching this year's qualifying event.